Good morning, everyone. Today is, I believe, the 27th? 26th or 27th. Anyways, so the last video we left off on was Aries. I took a little break, just kind of work on some personal things, but today we're going to work on, let's continue on with the earth signs, and then we're going to move into the other ones. That way we can keep them together. So today I'm going to do a reading for Taurus. Let's do, we left off with Aries. We were doing like what you, I guess, need to hear from your partner. And then if you're having any blockages, what could they be in your life? In this no contact situation, like what is preventing them from coming to you or you going to them? That was on this side. And then on this side, it was as far as like progressing in life, things that could be coming towards you. Why aren't they? Or like what is the energy that's blocking them? So that will be our reading today, Taurus. I'm going to start off with my OG. I'm being pulled to pull from this one. Ooh, hello. Tower on the bottom. Maybe there was something that happened suddenly for you guys. All right. What could be happening for Taurus that is the reason why their person is not reaching out to them, or they themselves, the Taurus, does not feel it is necessary or they want to reach out to this person? So what is the energy going on there? What is happening? What is going on? While I'm shuffling, you guys, yeah, let's go ahead and subscribe. That really helps my channel out. Kind of lets me know what you guys want to hear. I just started doing this. Actually, my first reading and posting it online was on Martin Luther King Day, just a few days ago. So thank you for all the ones who have reached out, who have followed, who have shared my content so far. I really appreciate that. It really helps me. And I thank you for your kind words, all of that good stuff. Anyways, let's do this. Ooh, hello. Okay, so there's that one. What is going on that Taurus needs to hear in regards to this situation? Why is the person not reaching out to them? Or why do they not want to reach out to this person? What is the energy of the communication going on between you two? I said a tower moment and my box just fell. So I do feel like something suddenly kind of fell apart between you guys. Maybe that's what the message needs to be talked about. Like what suddenly happened. Okay, one more time, and we're going to split it up. Let's see what comes out. Okay, I need more cards. Let's see what this one is. Okay, so somebody probably had an epiphany suddenly of wanting to break away, feeling as if though they want a new beginning. They're willing to try something new because maybe what was happening in the past was not serving them, was not giving them that sense of freedom, liberation, or even they wanted like a new adventure. They wanted to move towards their goal. Now that tells me that Taurus, well, okay, so Taurus, we all know, yes, Pentacles is like their element. Pretty much money, material things. And not to say that they're materialistic people, but they do care about progress. They do care about abundance. So just kind of knowing that sign, and if it's an energy around moving to a new, it could be because there was maybe some type of stagnation. I'm just going to say that from what I'm picking up so far. I need some more cards though. So jump out at me, not all at once, but do what you gotta do. What's going on for Taurus? What do they need to hear right now? You guys have no cards coming out. What's going on? Okay, there's that one. yeah, like I said, a lack of passion, a lack of energy, a lack of movement. Wands are usually seen as action. So they withdrew their energy to then maybe pursue something that is fulfillment for them. Okay. Okay, so how's that reading on there? You guys even see that? Let's put it like right there. Okay, so far what we have is, like I said, I think what's happening here, I like to read from this way, like a storybook. We start off with something suddenly happening, right? 0 is a new beginning. It is kind of, it's the in-between between the last card in the major arcana and the first, right? This is a more mental energy. I feel like when I see the Fool, it's that sudden realization, like I want to do something, like the idea in the head. And then we go into the next card, which is then getting the tools to then start it. There's an idea of this reasoning that it's time to kind of do something different. I'm willing in my mind, I'm thinking about it. I feel like it's a time where I come to this epiphany, I come to this realization that this is not working for me anymore. And it's because of these reasons. So the Ace of Wands in reverse, usually when we see the cloud in the hand, it's usually like something being given to somebody. Not necessarily from an exact person, but almost like divine timing or some type of like outside source other than you that is, benefiting or is going to benefit you. And I do feel like with this action, there's no benefit in it anymore because it's not serving this energy of I want to start something new. The High Priestess in reverse, I like to think of this card as either... So, some ways I interpret this card. It is definitely a person who is all-knowing. And it is a person who, could be... Think of like TMZ, right? TMZ kind of has all the information, knows how to get the information, or they go out and look for the information. Now, the information could be manipulated to then serve a certain purpose. It could be actually given truthfully, or it could be given selectively to then, change the dynamic of like what is being seen. So there's a little bit of influence that I can say can happen with this, especially in reverse. Misinformation being given, or it could be like an internal message coming in to you. Being that it's in reverse, I feel like it's something being blocked. Always when there's a reversal, it's kind of like blocked energy, how I feel. Not as its full potential, but there's something blocking it. And we have then the 10 of Wands, which is a lot of work that went into this. A lot of work kind of went into this situation, or you feel like it's a burden at this point to continue talking to them or them talking to you. They rather start fresh. We start on this side wanting to start fresh, and we move all the way over here to complete the story that it's because it was just too much work to put into it. Now, I feel like with this energy, this is kind of mimicking this. They're in this energy because they want to do this. They want to focus on something different. They want to look at what's going to benefit them. We have 2 offerings being given, and this one is in reverse and this one's being rejected. So no matter if you try to, or they try to, remember, I read for both parties in here, so you guys can apply it. I don't like to say, oh, Taurus, this is what you're expecting. It could either be you're expecting this, like you're going through this, or like, okay, you're going through this because this is you, or you're going through this because this is the other person. And then you take what applies and then you apply it. If it doesn't, let it fly. So you have, like I was saying, you have 2 different offerings being brought to you, but you don't want it, or they don't want it. They don't want to have anything kind of like intimate with you. They don't want to take any type of action to progress with you, or vice versa. And then the emotional side of it, they're not really interested, or you're not really interested. We have the Nine of Cups here. And anytime I think of this energy, it's usually like feeling confident or happy. I can see this as like accomplishments behind them. I always see the cups are like things you're proud of, especially with the guy sitting there very, profoundly, a little bit guarded with his hands crossed. If he was like, maybe his hands were on his waist, it'd be like more of a powerful, kind of like I'm confident and strong. But being that they're crossed, usually crossing the arms is kind of like sheltering your gut, sheltering your womb. So even though you're proud of it, there's something still there that you feel, or they feel, a little bit guarded about. So in reverse, I would say that this card definitely represents looking at the whole thing. Like they're not willing to look at the cups anymore, or you're not willing to look at the cups. Maybe the time or the months went into it. You're willing to turn your back on it, or they're willing to turn their back on it because it is not fulfilling to them anymore. So now that's kind of like what's going on the surface. But now with the next set of cards, I'm going to go kind of deeper into why this is happening. So we're going to switch decks. So Taurus, you know what happened. So now we're going to figure out why it happened. We're going to try to figure out why it happened. So let's see. Let me make sure all my cards are in the right spot, because some of them look like they are not in the right location. Yeah, okay. You guys know with this card, I have the hardest time, so I'm gonna start doing this. This deck is like very hard for me to shuffle. I always say that. Okay, so why is this happening for Taurus? Either it's them or their person. What is the reason why they are willing to start fresh, or they're looking for a new opportunity? Why they're not interested anymore in this fulfillment? Why is it 10 of Wands here? What is the burden, and why are they not sitting confidently with the cups behind them? What's going on? And then also too, why is the High Priestess in reverse? What misinformation is being told? Okay, this is not working. I'm trying to figure out the best way to shuffle this deck. That was a good shuffle. Okay, what is the reason? Really? Okay, I'm gonna just split it. So we have the Page of Pentacles in reverse. We're gonna split it again. Let's go here. I'm not looking at the cards. I'm just kind of opening up where it feels right. Let's do this. Oh my gosh. It's so hard. It's a lot of cards. Okay, there we go. I feel trapped. See, we got the Nine of Cups again coming out. Let's get like one more card. Where'd it go? Okay. Let's do that. Okay, so pretty much what's going on is, so while this is happening on the outside, internally, this is what's going on inside. We have the Page of Pentacles in reverse. Financially, not doing so well, maybe. We have the Nine of Cups again. We have the Chariot card, which is a Cancer. So Taurus could be dealing with a Cancer. And we have the Eight of Swords. So there's a sense of escapism, trapped. We have this energy coming up twice, which is not really looking at, how do you say it? Not really looking into the accomplishments or the things that happened in the past. Kind of like turning away from the past. Maybe there's been, I believe the cups represent months, I feel like. And 9 months. Maybe this situation has been going on for the past year with you guys. You've been in your head, Taurus, or this person has been in their head for the past maybe 9 months or so. This has kind of been like the whole year that you've been going back and forth, or they have been going back and forth with this feeling because they feel it's too much work to invest into this relationship, and they don't feel like they get mental clarity. So there could be a lot of like things that they feel they can't express, or they don't really express themselves because they don't feel as though they have the ability to do so. And ultimately that combination does want, we have the same energy too. Do you feel like this person, or maybe you, somebody in here looks at things as black and white? I think that's why you feel the Eight of Swords. They don't have this ability to have an open mind about things. And that does get in the way sometimes of finding middle grounds between you and them. And that's why I think you're not willing to put in the time or effort anymore, because you realize that this person doesn't want to work with you on things. It is almost like their way or the highway. That's what I would pick up on. I think it's time for Taurus, or the person dealing with Taurus. They got to a point where they realized that this relationship is not going to grow because it requires too much physical labor. And I don't mean like you need to exercise or whatnot, but like the physical mentality and the energy that goes into this is draining. I think the person doesn't really look at things from a nuanced perspective. It's my way or the highway, like I said. And because of that, they're willing to reject it because they're no longer interested in it. I think that's what this is what it's saying. So if you feel like that applies to you, let me know. Now, as far as, let's look at other things. In here, I don't see anything that's showing cheating. I don't see anything that's showing maybe a little bit of manipulation with this High Priestess in reverse, but not in a sense where it's like sinister behavior happening. It's more so they're trying to manipulate it because they feel like they need to guard themselves, whoever this is. And they feel like emotionally they rather start fresh. That's what I'm picking up. They want to find something that's a little bit more freeing than what they've been experiencing right now. There's a little bit, like I said, with the Four of Cups, they don't want it anymore because they're kind of tired of the same pattern. I see two patterns already showing up. We have this whole black and white, and we have the Nine of Cups in reverse. This is like being happy about accomplishments, being happy about the achievements that you guys have been able to do. And yet you guys make moves together emotionally, but it's not really where it's fulfilling for you to then be in this energy. Like, I'm happy about it. Something is happening emotionally in this relationship that is mentally and physically draining. And the Page of Pentacles also talks about investments. We talk about finances. And I think financially or physically they're not willing, or you're not willing to invest into this because you're not in a place where you can see the growth or abundance coming from it to begin with. Okay, so let's do this one. Oops. You guys, I keep dropping my boxes. Okay. Closing the box. I still need to figure out the name of this deck. I kind of forgot it. I did forget it. It's not that I completely forgot it. But if you know the name of this deck, put it in the comments. All right. So this is going to be an oracle card pull that pretty much gives more light onto what's going on. All right, we got one. Let me get through the whole deck. Yeah. All right, getting to know each other. As you reveal your innermost selves to each other, your bond deepens. But the problem is, you guys did that. Because that tells me with the Nine of Cups twice that you guys did open up. You guys are just not mentally on the same level. Because it's almost when you open up, maybe there's like emotional manipulation. That's why the High Priestess is in reverse. Almost like guilt tripping each other. The bond deepens, yes, but then you realize the more that you get closer to this person, you realize that you're not aligned with them. And I think that's what that's referring to. One is a little bit more serious. There's that black and white energy again. One is a little bit more serious. The other one's a little bit more playful. And although, yes, usually those things balance out, but there's other things that also play into that. Yes, you can be somebody who is more fun. Yes, you could be somebody who's more serious. But the problem is, what happens is there's a time and place. And I think that's what the issue was for you guys. There was a balance that was not balancing out. Because while one person wanted to be like more playful, the other person saw that as they're not taking it seriously. Therefore, they had to do the work most of the time because they couldn't take the other person seriously. But then that person also felt like, I just want to have fun. And therefore, that other person kind of like made them feel bad for not having fun. So it was almost like I have to restrict myself. There's a lot of restriction, I feel like, happening here. And an unwillingness to do that. I think you guys did the actions of getting to know each other, like I said, but it was in the process of getting to know each other where you realize that there's a misalignment. And that's okay. Misalignments just mean you're being redirected somewhere else. And I feel like when you experience misalignments with people, that is okay because you learn something about yourself. I feel like those people come into your life to mirror something about yourself that maybe you don't see, and that's what mirrors are for. You are able to see yourself when you look in a mirror. Sometimes you don't like what you see, and that's when you have the opportunity to change it. I don't like the fact that I'm with a partner who doesn't take things too seriously, or just feels like every time it's, it's always a time to have fun. Okay. Let's do that one. I can grab it. It says, turn the path of desire, which for most people is focused on worldly things, and redirect it to a higher plane. And then on the back, it says, I do not measure myself by external standards. The flow of life's abundance brings me everything. Okay, so let's dive into that a little bit. Turn the path of desire. Do you guys feel like there was an expectation to fit certain roles with this relationship? And maybe there was a lot of influence from outside sources. Maybe people told you that this is what things are supposed to be like. And because of that, it created this perception on what the relationship should be. And that could be where a lot of the strain came from. And I would say, you know, yeah, the path of desire has led this person to the full energy where they want to redirect literally to the highest plane. He's on the cliff and he's looking over. Higher self sometimes doesn't look like a relationship. Higher self doesn't always look like partnership. Sometimes higher self looks like being by yourself. And I'm not saying that you need to then completely just be a single person for the rest of your life, but in being by yourself, you get to be really aligned with what you want. In the solitude and silence of self, you learn yourself. You take the things that you've learned from people, you take the information you've gathered along the way, along your journey, and you reflect on it. I almost wish the Hermit card would have came out here, because I think that would have been very beneficial for you to be able to see things clearly. Step away from the burden, step away from the mental confusion or the mental prison that you put yourself in to be able to see things clearly. Yeah, I do not measure myself by any external standard. The flow of life's abundance brings me everything. Yeah, that is giving me this energy of letting go. Again, tying back to the Fool. There's definitely a letting go because you realize, like I said, something here didn't serve you. And I feel like it didn't serve you because you realize how much time and energy you put into it, but it really didn't bring any type of abundance. And it just left you feeling mentally drained and physically exhausted. You or your person. It's going to be okay, Taurus. It's going to be okay. All right, so let's do... So I have this one. I think that would be fun. Now, I normally don't read with this one, but I think this will be very helpful for now, because what do you do afterwards? Now that we've been brought to the attention of what happened, why it happened, what is the end result? Hold on. Isn't this beautiful? It's a nice box. The After Tarot. Okay. So what happens afterwards? Oh, there's like so many cards. Hold on, you guys. There are so many cards that are not even in the right position. Okay, let's see. You guys, I have not used this deck in like forever. Like, I used it a couple times. I'm probably, you know, I need to like remove the naked people from this deck. I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of people. Yeah, there's a lady right there. I'm about to get in trouble for that. Luckily, my video is pretty new and I don't think they would say anything. Hopefully not. But we're going to do it anyways. Okay, so now that everything has been talked about, we understand what happened, like I said, why it happened. We want to know what is going to happen next. And then we'll get into the other side. Okay, so for Taurus, what does this situation look like in the end? How will things be resolved? We got the World card in reverse. We got that one. Okay. Oh, and that one too. Justice. Then it was this one. Wheel of Fortune. Then we have this one. Judgment. Oh my goodness. Legal action? All right. We got the Two of Cups in reverse. Justice. Things are going to be brought to the surface. Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Temperance. This is interesting. Honestly, at the end, Taurus, there's something that somebody is going to have to acknowledge. There's a sense of acknowledging the truth. I think with this High Priestess here, whatever lies or things that were being manipulated, I think it's going to come to the surface. There was definitely an internal knowing of something not right. And when it happens, it's going to be obvious. I do feel like there was a divine intervention of like spiritually, this relationship needed to end. We end with the wings. It's almost as if though something had to come in and separate you guys because it wasn't working. Did you feel parts of you wanted to end things, but you didn't know how to? And being what was going on, it almost felt like it was out of your control. Like there was external presence or energy coming in between you guys that changed everything for you guys. And it was this sudden realization of being basically called somewhere else. And I don't mean called like you had an ex or somebody new just popped in. It was almost as if though like you knew you needed to put your attention somewhere else. I think at the end of the day, you still love this person. There's definitely a love there, but I think it was almost, I say like this, divinely time to end things. Because karma played a role. And for you, it got to the point, and for them, that it just didn't make sense to be together anymore. Although you still emotionally had feelings for them, logically, it was like things just can't continue like this. Every sign, every event, every situation, internal feelings, external things happening. I think it was just a time where the truth needed to be realized. You know, this justice needed to happen. And it was in a way of justice to deal with the both of you guys, not just like, oh, one person is wrong. I think both people were doing things maliciously towards each other. And karma said enough. We're turning this situation around. You guys cannot be together. You guys were called to separate. You guys are doing two different things. These are two different elements. And although yes, this restores balance to what you guys have, there's obviously, yes, a love still there, but it's not, I don't see this ever coming back together. Although emotionally you guys love each other, it is for the best. This relationship basically was to teach you something about your boundaries, about what you are willing to put up with. And when divinely, you know, if you want to say the Most High, however you want to refer to it, karma, the end of this relationship happened. And it happened sharp, and it happened abruptly. That's kind of going back to what I said about the tower moment. This was a tower moment here. That was a tower moment. Suddenly something happened because Karma said, time is up. It's time to end things and it's time to move on. Therefore, forcing you to start your new beginning on your own. So, I know this is a dog and I know this is a cat, but it's an animal that is white and it represents purity. It's almost like you got your fresh start. I leave you with love, but it's time for me to go and start my own. And then the reading goes right back to the beginning. I love that. Okay. I'm not going to leave you guys hanging. We still have like the other part of the reading to do. So let's kind of clear this off. Actually, no, I'll leave it there. Let's go back now. So we're going to do it opposite. So I did it this way the first time. So now this part of the reading is, like I said, Taurus is going to talk about what roadblocks could you be facing. So this was part of love. We talked about love here. Scoot all this over. Okay. So now let's scoot this up a little bit more. Okay. So now with what blockages is Taurus experience in work or in moving forward? Nothing to do with relationship, but just like things in their life. Is there any energy that's blocking them? If so, what is it? And how can they transmute that? Hold on. This all came out. The High Priestess again. I noticed my cards have been like really coming out upside down a lot. There's cards that are like upright. I'm looking at my deck right now. I'm like, are all my cards just upside down? No, we got cards that are upright. Okay. So, what's going on with you guys? So, seeing that we have the Ace of Wands, and then we have literally like right next to each other. What the heck? Okay, this could be something that's going on. This could be something that's going on here. We have this shady energy here. What's blocking Taurus? Somebody not being honest. And seeing that it's the High Priestess again and the Ace of Wands right next to each other in the reading, that is suspicious, okay? There is somebody in your energy, and it could be the same person that is doing things that's blocking your progress, which would then, if these are tying together, is the reason why things needed to suddenly come to an end and you start a new beginning. Because now what I'm seeing is whatever happened here is affecting your abundance. We talked about that here. You're not able to have abundance because I think this is the same person now. Seeing that there's cards coming out that are repeating in the same order, in the same way. It's not like, oh, they're both just one is up. No, both of them are in reverse. Both of them came out right next to each other. And this was what's going on in the relationship, but this was emotionally in the center row that we did. What was going on, I guess, emotionally to you or the person. So I'm going to confirm, Taurus, this is what you're going through. Because here we said, what's blocking you? This energy is blocking you. So now everything I said, I'm going to apply that to what you're experiencing. This is you and the person you're with. These are not the emotions of your partner or your person. These are what you're going through. So everything I said here, apply that to yourself. Seven of Swords. Somebody's trying to take information or manipulate information about you. I think maybe they want to manipulate how people see you. They have their eye on you. When you're not around, maybe they kind of go through your stuff. Or maybe that's what was going on. They were going through your stuff to gain information on you. So then that way they can use it in some type of way. I did say I did say with this, I said online, like there she is with her laptop. She's online. She's over here doing stuff. Online, talking trash, probably. And I don't know if it's a she, but in this card, it's a she. It could be a he as well. Let me get some more cards. Taurus, what are you dealing with? You got somebody who is going through your stuff and you're not around. Trying to get to know who you are at the core. And then we have the Strength in reverse, which represents, you know, not being able to use their best words. Coming through in ways that are not, how can I say that? Coming through in ways that are not mature. Maybe there is a sense of emotional or mental regulation that this person lacks. There's a sense of being deceitful, but in a way where it's I don't know. This is interesting. In a way that is not beneficial to either them or you. It's almost like they're acting from a place of just not willing to let things die or end. They still want to hold on to you, but they want to like ruin you in the process. I want to hold on to you, but I want to ruin you in the process. This is giving like snooping energy. This is giving snooping energy. This is giving snooping energy. I feel as though this person is trying to get information on you. Or there's some type of situation where you're being investigated. Are you guys being investigated? Is that what the whole legal stuff is happening? I said legal. And the one thing I would say is, you know, like I said, y'all Taurus is about y'all money, but I don't see anything to do with money here. So this is not like anything doing with money. This is all like emotions and like what is driving you, which is very interesting because I feel like when I do readings for Taurus, it's usually talking about some type of abundance in money. And I don't see any of that going on in this reading. There's like hardly, I don't even think there's like one pentacle on the table. Somebody's trying to hurt you where it hurts. And they're not going to be done with you until they say so. They don't have the ability to just walk away. They're digging though. They're trying to find information on you. So going back to the question, Taurus, what is blocking you? Somebody is actively trying to expose you. Somebody's actively trying to get information on you. And with that information, they could be using that. Let's see. What is the reason why this person is doing this? Or like what energy is this that's trying to get information on you? What energy is trying to... Ooh, the King of Cups. Okay, so I did say Cancer. This could be a... Okay, so if it is a female Taurus, or, you know, because nowadays people like who they like. We have a feminine energy, Cancer, but then we also have this water sign, which is masculine. But it doesn't have to always be masculine. It's just the energy that surrounds that. And we have somebody who's trying to sit on this throne. Maybe they appear well put together, but there's a lot of things that they're planning underneath. Okay. Oh yeah. We have the Temperance again, but this time it's in reverse. And then let's get one more. Okay, we'll just do that one. Yeah. Well, there it is. The abundance. They're lacking the abundance because they're too... Okay. This is what I'm picking up because there's a lot of stuff going on here. I almost feel like you need to definitely start changing some passwords online. Taurus, protect your information. Change your passwords. You know, if you do get statements, I'm just saying, if you get like statements in the mail, start having them being sent online instead of like getting actual mail is what I'm picking up on. You know, if you have a certain routine that you follow, maybe change it up. It's time to change something up because somebody is studying you. Taurus, be careful. Something's happening. Taurus, like, I don't feel like you have a good person in your energy right now. I feel uncomfortable. I feel like this person is like low-key being a narc. Taurus, be careful. All right, let's end with a, and if you want to get more into this reading, if this story applies to you, please reach out to me. I would love to do a reading for you and get more insight on what's going on. Let's do this deck. And then we're gonna end with this one and this one. So that one's gonna be next. Okay. Now, we are aware that there's somebody who's not in the right moral place. Now, although they may feel like what they're doing is right, because clearly they're doing it, you know, I think the reason why they're doing it, like I said, is to gain information because there's something that they're planning. And Taurus, I think you should be aware of that. How does this situation look like in the end? I guess the real question is, why do they want to block you? Why do they want to put it out there? Or like, why are they being sneaky about it? Why not just let things end and die and move on? Find the balance in their own life. Why are they not allowing things? Let's just get one more. I'm hearing like one more card. There we go. The Emperor. Okay. Oh, I thought there was only 4 cards. Here's another one. Okay. See? We got that same page again. Page of Pentacles. All right. This person do you feel as though this person... Have you ever had like money disappear around this person? And then do you ever notice like your abundance is limited or it's being blocked? Like anytime you guys plan something, and I think that's why money never was like really mentioned. Maybe that's the part that they try to hide. Because now I'm starting to see it. Why is the reason? Now the money cards are coming out. Page of Pentacles. Okay. I would say with this Cups though. The 7 of Cups. Like he finally made the choice, but it was from a place of being greedy. Because those look like they're little circles. I'm assuming those are jewels. They chose... I don't know. They chose something, but the snake came. The snake could be the energy that is influencing them to make that choice, or that is the karma that comes with it. I think they think that this is going to bring them abundance, but ultimately it's just going to bring them an unstable throne. It's going to bring them some type of situation where I don't know, I just feel like this person is like really vindictive. Like we have emperor, right, which is the highest king, right? It's above a king, and they're using their powers instead of sitting on their throne and like being an emperor who's positive. It's almost like an out of control person here with the strength card as well. They're using their power, or they have some type of power or influence to manipulate this situation. And I feel like they have people doing things behind your back without you knowing, like almost like the flying monkeys kind of thing. If they have friends, or if they have people that you feel like they're trying to check up on you, or they're like, hey, so like what have you been up to, what's going on, I would say don't even talk to them. Taurus, you need to be careful. I would say like the next couple of months, just keep an eye open for people who just ask a lot of questions that seem to be like in your business, because it's like, I never really talked to you before, so why are you asking me all these questions now? This person's trying to gain some type of something from you to get the upper hand. And I think it's because they want to be the winner. They want to be the one on top. They want to be the emperor, but they're not even realizing that all this effort and all this energy that they're putting in already, karma has set in, and I think they're not happy with what happened. I think while you are over here trying to move on because you realize like, hey, this is not going to work anymore, I think for them, they're in a place where they're bitter about it. And that's what the blockage is. They're bitter about this separation. They're bitter about you moving on and you realizing like, hey, this is not going to work for me, and I need to move on and start my new beginning. And I think for them, they feel as though like they didn't get the best out of it or what they wanted. So now they're in a place mentally where they're going to try to snoop, where they're trying to collect information, they're trying to spy on you, they're trying to get all that stuff. And they're using the people around them. Like this energy, when I look at it, I see like they're paying somebody to do something, right? They have all their options, and they pick the one that's going to bring what they selfishly want. Because even this guy's face looks kind of like, you know how like, my precious, like they're influenced by something which they think will bring abundance to them, but it's not really going to do so. And they won't live it down, because even in the emperor, they're over here like, I need to win. I'm going to win no matter what. I think the best thing for you to do is completely distance yourself from it, like move away from this energy, and don't even associate yourself with this person. Don't talk to anybody that is associated with this person, because I feel like their mission right now is to basically like derail your life. So Taurus, that's what I'll say. I did say I was going to end with this, so let me pull this one. How are we doing on the time? We are almost at an hour, you guys. Okay. What time is it real quick? I think it's like what? 12:16. Okay, we're good. Be careful. You know what I just heard? Beware of the Ides of March. March is coming up, and if you guys know, look it up. Ides of March. Look at that story. Whoa. That's a lot. Hold on, they're all like stuck. Put some air between them. split. That's one, that's two. Okay, well, that's two. All right, so we got, ooh, we have a mirrored image. We have 12 and we have 21. Sage of higher knowledge and hearing the truth, right? So I'm gonna end with this because I know you guys, somebody told me they really like this deck. So we have 12. And again, if you guys want to get this deck, I would recommend purchasing it because it does come with a pretty detailed book. But I only read the part where it says in the reading because it'll just take too much time. Test all options, advice, research, and alleged facts according to your own intuition and instinct. Select that which is helpful for you and notice that which is best case aside. Even if just for a time, seek information and assistance from those that you feel can assist you, and yet place no human advisor above the ultimate divine authority, which will guide you on how to proceed through a deep inner knowing. There is always a new acknowledgement beyond existing boundaries of thought. We simply need to be open and willing to receive it with with patience, discernment, and trust in the greater guiding power. The Oracle of Amuata, I guess, comes to you with guidance that the answer is coming, an important piece of information, and that when you are centered in your heart, you will recognize that for what it is and know how to proceed. I'm telling you, proceed on your own. That's what I feel like that's about. Proceed on your own. Let me see. I'm gonna just read the first one. Intuition and instincts are two forms of intelligence, one arising from the heart and the other arising from wisdom of the body. These specific or special forms of knowing are essential for living a wise and authentic life. Okay, so there's that, and then we're gonna go into 21. Okay, so then now focus on what you know to be true by tuning into what you feel and not focusing on appearances. That was that right here. Turn the path of desire, which for most people is focused on worldly things, and redirect it to the higher plane. That's the same message. Okay. It says there is a voice of spirit deep within you. Anytime you want or need guidance, you have the ability to tune in to that inner voice, bringing peace, comfort, and clarity. It takes courage to turn within rather than putting your faith in people and things of this world. Literally the same thing. But you have enough inner strength and wisdom to this. The truth within has been spoken. Trust that you can hear it. Okay? I love how these are matching. And I love how this ties with definitely this oracle card. It said the same thing. So when we read this one, number 21, which is Dadiri, I think that's what it's saying. It brought me back to this whole idea. This is what is happening externally, like I said. And that's the higher power, the higher divine that intervened, but it did it so that way you can see things clearly. Taurus, like I said, if you want to dive deeper into this reading, if this reading brought you any type of clarity or insight, please follow, please like, subscribe, and share it to somebody who could be going through something like this, or save it for later so then that way you have it to refer back to when maybe this all happens and you can kind of see like what's going on. But yeah, I am Golden Moon Child Tarot. Give me a follow on Instagram, and also to hit me up if you guys need some readings. If you guys want to do a reading with me, send me an email. I do have it listed there on my LinkedIn, or not my LinkedIn, my Linktree website that I made. And yeah, I'll be here for you guys. So that's what I have today for Taurus. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment down below. Let me know how this resonates with you. Have a good day.